Hello my friends and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. One way to figure out if a policy is fair or just is to try to put yourself in the position where you are at the receiving end of the policy. And then I'm pretty sure you're going to find all kind of ways to improve it and tweak it here and there to make it more just. So that's one way. In this case, I have this article that I think could make us all see if this action taken by in this case by Great Britain is just, fair, correct, and by putting yourself in the shoes of the people at the receiving end, which is Russia in this case. So this article comes from Reuters. It's from November 10th, 2022. Britain has frozen 18 billion billion pounds worth of Russian assets. Now, put yourself in the shoes of a Russian. And you tell me if you can contemplate and say, yeah man, I think that Britain has a point. It has a point into freezing my assets in Great Britain. I think they should do it. They're okay, man. It's okay. I want you to in a conscious, objective, loving way say, yes, man. I think I deserve that. And I think your first question will be, why in the fuck? What'd I do? Well, that's the first point when you realize that's not fair, because you say, what'd I do? That's the first question. Why? So, London. The British government said on Thursday it has frozen assets worth more than 18 billion pounds, $20.5 billion, held by Russian oligarchs, other individuals, that's you, other individual. You're not an oligarch, okay? Oligarch by definition is a bad dude, unless he's a kosher one, like Abramovich, he's A-OK, and others, okay? And businesses sanctioned over Moscow's invasion of Ukraine. Let's say you're a successful businessman in Russia, and you invested in Great Britain, and all of a sudden those guys decide to freeze your assets. You have nothing to do with Putin, you have nothing to do with Ukraine, you didn't shoot anything, you didn't kill anybody, but those guys said, you know what, we take your assets and we might use them too. And you're never gonna see them again. How would you like that? I mean, you work for all that. It was not given to you. Let's say you are an honest, hardworking person. You're not a thief. If you're a thief, you might say, it's okay, I'm gonna steal some more. But I'm talking about you, not those guys, you. So I don't think this is fair. All right, so other individuals and business sanctions over Moscow's invasion. Okay, you think, oh, I'm pretty sure the British government looked into each individual and they picked those guys because there's some smart guys over there in the government, let me tell you, and they figured out that there's connection between these oligarchs and other individuals, and they found the bad dudes, so that's good. Really? I don't believe that a bit. I'm not saying they didn't find some guys that are actors into all this, but I'm pretty sure they did it just okay? Anyway, Russia has overtaken Libya and Iran to become Britain's most sanctioned nation. The Office of Financial Sanctions Implementation, OFSI, part of the Finance Ministry, said in its annual report. The frozen Russian assets were 6 billion pounds more than the amount reported across all other British sanctions regimes. Russian billionaire Roman Abramovich, the kosher one, and businessman Mikhail Friedman, another kosher, are among those sanctions this year. How these guys are always victims. How did they get to have so much money in Russia, who's an anti-Semitic country? How did they get the money? I don't know how, but they got it. So they're good for them. That's their money. I'm good with that. But it's kind of like, you're always a victim, but somehow you know what I mean? 2 out of 2 are among those sanctions this year, along with President Vladimir Putin, his family, and military commanders. The frozen assets are, and it's not only these guys are just telling you so they can make the case that, see, these are bad dudes. Abramovich had what? Chelsea club, football club. How? He was living mostly in London. Why? Because Putin is looking for him. Putin did not freeze his assets in Russia. Is Great Britain an anti-Semitic country? Huh? Hey, ADL, go and check on these guys. All right, so the frozen assets are a combination of shareholdings in companies and cash held in bank accounts. It does not include physical assets such as real estate or assets held in crown dependencies such as Guernsey and Jersey. Well, the thing is probably that did not make sense and would have hurt them more than would have hurt the oligarchs. The government has sanctioned 95% of Russian exports to Britain, and all imports of Russian oil and gas will stop by the end of 2022. So Russian exports. So again, the government has sanctioned 95% of Russian exports to Britain, and all imports of Russian oil and gas will stop by the end of 2022. It didn't make sense, but I know what they say. And I'm quoting, "We have imposed the most severe sanctions ever on Russia, and it's crippling their war machine," said Andrew Griffin, a junior government minister in the Treasury, in a statement. He must be a very smart guy. And I'm quoting, "Our message is clear. We will not allow Putin to succeed in this brutal war." All right. Britain has so far sanctioned more than 1,200 individuals. Not only those ones, that 5 that mentioned or 4, including high-profile businessmen, one of you, and prominent politicians like you, and more than 120 entities in Russia. Sanctions hurting. Hurt someone else, not Russia. So Britain was the destination for much of the Russian money that flowed into the West in the decades following the Soviet Union's collapse in 1991. Yes, a lot of oligarchs that stole the money came to Great Britain and lived just nice. They were, how do you call those guys? You know, they are dissidents. They became dissidents because Putin said, "Hey, you took the money, come over here." Not Putin, it was the Justice Department over there. And they ran where? To London. Why? Why London? Even that weasel from Pakistan, who's wanted in Pakistan, I think the brother or the father of the Prime Minister, Sharif, he's also in London. Why is he in London? Because he's on the payroll of some people in London? Or you don't tell me it's the cradle of freedom and love, London. I don't believe that, okay? They all run to London, Tel Aviv or Israel, and sometimes United States. These are the preferred countries. I wonder why. So anyway, the European Union, a 27-nation bloc with an economy 5 times larger, said in July it had frozen 13.8 billion euros. The looting is occurring over there as well. $13.83 billion of Russian assets over the war in Ukraine. Western sanctions on Russia mean a depletion of stockpiled parts for the automotive industry with new cars such as the latest Lada model, blah, blah, blah. Russian aerospace companies are stripping airlines for spare parts. And okay, they try to destroy them like that. Long term, Russia is suffering a brain drain and a lack of access to critical technologies, with 75% of companies reducing operations and 25% leaving the countries, and officials said. Well, the thing is, they also sanctioned the gold. Russia has a lot of gold, and some gold is deposited in certain banks and entities abroad. They seized that one. Now again, really? I don't know how many billions, but there are a lot of, I can't remember exactly the sum. I don't want to say stupid stuff. And I don't know. I know it was like, I can say 30 billion, 20 billion, 40 billion of gold, but I don't know. I can't remember. Zip it, suck it back. So anyway, and they crippling who? Putin? Those oligarchs, they're just fine. Maybe the little people, common people. And besides, the manufacturing industry in Russia is going up. In the West is going down. The Russian economy is expanding. The Western economies are shrinking. So who's who, what's what? Who's hurt? It seems like it's a leveling here. You know what I mean? Is that own nothing and be happy kind of thing? Is it? Because we are hurt more than the Russians. According to the numbers, yeah, you do this, okay, all right. You sanctions the oligarchs. You take their money. All right, put yourself in those shoes and see, yeah, I deserve that. But if you're still objective, you say, why? It's not me who invaded anybody. I'm just a businessman. Why am I hurt? Well, because we want you to go and stab someone in the back of the neck. And his name is Putin, Vladimir Putin. That's why they try you to move something, start some mass protests, and they can activate their own weasels, and they overthrow the government, like in Ukraine 2014. Just came to my mind. Or Gaddafi, or many other places. That's the way things function. And they all run to London when they get caught. About to get caught, they and jumped over the French channel, I mean English channel. Yeah, or shit, they think they're so smart. They're not smart. We are dumb. That's the problem. They're not smart. We are dumb. But anyway, at least how much we can figure things out, we figure things out, and we at least communicate. Thank you very much for being with me again today. As much as they let us communicate too. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.